Hello, this is Adam with Daily Grind Digital, and today we're going to go over setting up your product detail page in the DGD Crusade Shopify theme. So right now I'm on a product detail page, and you can see right here on the left side the available sections. So by default, the product page template will have two sections. You have your product information section and your product recommendations section. The product recommendations will just be an area with recommended products that come at the bottom of the product page. But if you end up customizing this page, adding additional sections, you can move this product recommendations section around, as well as any other section that you would choose to add to your product page template. All right, so with that being said, and of course, you can hide or remove sections. So the product recommendation section, you cannot remove it, but you can hide it. So if you do not want it on the page for some reason, you can just click this eyeball here and that will get rid of it. All right, so with that being said, so you have your product information section here, and then you have the individual blocks that are within it. So the section itself has its own settings, and then each individual block has its own settings. So we'll just go ahead and jump right into the product information section settings, which this product information section controls the entire product area that you're seeing here. So if we hop right in, you can see your align wide, align full. That just controls how wide this product area will stretch in full screen mode, and the align wide, it is your maximum content width that you set in your theme settings. So there is a different video going over theme settings and how that works. You can see that here in the theme settings area if you want to take a peek, but we have a video going over it on our website. So be sure to reference that video if you want to go through all the theme settings and understand how they work. So you have your padding. I guess I'll show you here real quick, just in case you're new here, what the align wide and align full look like. So if you go to align wide and you go to a full screen, this is what that looks like. Now if we go back to desktop so we can adjust it to align full, and now we go to full screen, you can see it just stretches further along the screen. It stretches wider. We'll go back to desktop mode, and I'll set it back to align wide. Padding top, padding bottom both do the same thing. Padding top's going to adjust how much padding is on the top. So now you can see there's no padding there. But if we go back to large, you can see this padding get added. For extra large, you see that padding get added. Same would happen for the bottom. You have your image size. So do you want this product image to be small? Do you want it to be large? Or do you want it to be medium size? So there you have that. You have the option to use featured media aspect ratio. So this one's pretty important to understand. Basically what this will do is it's going to use the aspect ratio of the first image on your product. So in the back end of Shopify, when you're in the products tab, managing your individual products, whatever image you put first is considered your featured image. And whatever aspect ratio that image has is the aspect ratio that this use featured media aspect ratio is going to do. Where this comes into play, and it might be important for your business, is say you have one product type or one product category or collection in your store that uses 1x1 images, so square images. But then you have another product category or collection that has more of a mobile dimension for the images. Perhaps you're taking full body shots of people because you're wanting to show your pants or your shirts or something. So if you're using different image aspect ratios based on product category, then this option would work for you. Use featured media aspect ratio because it's dynamically going to adjust the image aspect ratio based on the individual product itself and whatever image is first. Versus if you choose to use this image height option here, this is not going to work while this option is selected. So we can adjust this and you'll see no change. But if you uncheck this option, and I'm going to put an image background on here, so show image background, so you can see the difference. So if you choose to use to not use the featured aspect ratio right here. Then if you adjust your image height, what that's going to do is it's going to adjust your aspect ratio of the image. So this is more of like a mobile layout, like a 9:16 layout. If you reduce it, it's going to adjust accordingly. So what you'll notice is that this also has a contain image setting on it. So whenever you adjust your image height, it is going to contain whatever image that you have within the aspect ratio. So this background area, you can see the image I have is more of a square image. So it's contained within an aspect ratio. See that there take effect. So really, as a best practice, you should be using an image height and aspect ratio that is as close as you can get to the actual image aspect ratio that you're using. That is going to allow it to look the best in most cases. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to take off the image background. All right, image alignment. So do you want that on the right or the left? Very simple changes there. Hide product thumbnails. So right here you can see the product thumbnails. You have a scroller icon. It will disappear on the last image. So you can see how that works. So do you want to hide these product thumbnails that are below? You have the option to do that just by checking that option. So we've showed image background. Of course, you have your background colors, which you have primary, secondary, white, black, extra, light gray right now. And to set your theme colors, those are in theme settings as well. So you can either review that theme settings video that we've created on our website, or you can go into the theme settings in the paintbrush and kind of look around, dig around, and learn on your own. All right, with that being said, so I'm going to skip enable zoom, enable video looping. The enable zoom actually currently does not work, so I cannot guarantee you that that will be working in the version of the theme that we're going to be pushing, but just know that just don't expect it to work, and then if it is working, it will be a pleasant surprise to you, as well as the video looping. So you have your background. So this is going to control the entire background of the section. So you can see how that takes effect there. You have certain theme settings that, so although I have a separate video on theme settings, there are certain ones here that are important to the current product layout, so you know the options. So I'll go over a few of those here. So the theme settings drop down that you just saw me drop down right here. When you're inside of a section, sometimes you'll see this theme settings option, and what it does, it kind of zooms in on the theme settings that are just relevant to this particular section. It's not always 100% accurate. It may include some that aren't the best, or it may be missing some settings. So I would always recommend to go into the theme settings area, as it is much more organized and easier to view, but there are certain things that this does make it nice and easy for you to adjust just what controls this area. For example, you have show color swatches. So if you select that option, give it a minute to update, you can see that the theme colors, and this is just for example purposes, of course, we don't have theme colors, but this what this does is any variant that you create that contains the word color, it is going to pull in a default color. So we have green, blue, and red. This is Shopify's default color settings, but we will give the ability in the theme to upload a custom color swatch. That way you can customize these things, and there will be a separate video going over how to do that. So I'm going to uncheck this option now that you know what it is. Actually, there is one other thing that I want to note. In the theme settings, you do have the ability to change these swatches between being square or between being circles. So you're seeing circles right now. I'm not sure if that's going to pop up in this little area that we have open here. Yeah, swatch style. So you can change it to square if you'd rather have a square there. So that is that. All right, so I'm going to uncheck the show color swatches. So enable back and stock request. form. What that's going to do is, of course, whenever you select an option that is sold out, so you can see these two options are sold out. Once you select a sold out option, it's just going to let you know that whatever variant is sold out, they are all sold out. So now you have this sold out option here. You're not going to be able to click add to cart or buy it now, but you can enable this back in stock request form, which basically, if you just enter an email here and subscribe, it will, by default, it is going to send the Shopify admin email, an email just letting you know that a particular email subscribed and wants to be alerted. So it's not the greatest for real world scenarios, but that's just how Shopify works out of the box. We do have a built-in Klaviyo back in stock request option, which is, it just works with this option here. You just have to set your Klaviyo public API key, and it will make the back in stock request form work with your Klaviyo. So that is definitely the recommended option if you are using Klaviyo. And if you're not using Klaviyo, you might should consider it. Just a recommendation there. Klaviyo is very, very good. So you can turn that off, of course. Obviously, might not would recommend that, but you can turn that off. All right. So back on the options that are available here. Show currency codes. So right now you're seeing USD. If you have a store that is going to sell in multi-currency, the currency codes would definitely be recommended to have on, but you can turn the currency code off. And what that's going to do is just get rid of the currency code, so the USD there that you would see. You do have the option to use our themes review options here, which essentially, so say if you're using a review platform like JudgeMe, instead of using JudgeMe's code to display the reviews, you can still use JudgeMe, but our theme itself will pull in the reviews. We recommend doing this just in general for performance purposes. Yeah, for performance purposes, because it is just more performant to use the code that we've put into the theme versus using a lot of these third-party apps code and putting them into your theme. So we do recommend doing this, and you do have the option to change the star color rating. So you do have that as an option there. Your option style. So right now we're set to selectable boxes. You can see the boxes showing there, but you can do a drop down as well. Have to give a second for that to take effect. So this is how your drop down would look. So you have those options, and then that is how the drop down would look. So button size. So do you want your button to be small or extra large? This actually is so this is where your theme setting drop down right here can be a little confusing, because this actually is not for the product page. So as I was saying, it's not always the best that I recommend to go to. As you can see, there was no change in setting there. That is because this, how Shopify is working, it is actually just pulling in something that is related to our quick shop settings, which is not related to the product page. So I just will show you an example of that real quick. That option is actually belongs to the quick shop settings, which is for the collection page. So if you would change that option and you would be looking and say, hey, this doesn't appear like it's working, it's because that was a little deceiving from that area. So that is what you need to be aware of, is that it's a lot easier to go into theme settings itself and verify what exactly you're changing, because sometimes you might just not realize what you're changing based on how it displays from that view. So just letting you know that if we go back into this area and we go to the theme settings area here, the button style, the button color, the button size, these do work. This is deceiving. These are changing the quick shop area, and what I would recommend, and the settings to change the button that we're seeing on the product page, you will find that in the actual block settings of the product information section, which I am about to show you. Also, just want to let you know you can change the text that's displaying on notify me when available. So like the back in stock, it says notify me when this product is available. You can customize what that says right here if you would like to do that for your customers. So let's go back out of the section settings. We've touched on everything that works and is important there. So the next option you have here is your title and price block. So your option here is you can include a vendor or a collection as the navigation. So you see DGD there. If I change to the collection, you're seeing DGD Crusade theme. That's the collection title I gave it for example purposes. You can change to none, which will just not display anything. You have your title text size. So do you want your title to be an H4 style, smaller, or do you want it to be larger? So you have the option to adjust that there. And just note that these also are your heading sizes are also controlled in theme settings. So just note that. You have your show star rating option, show rating count. So you can see those options right here on the right. And so that is the example there. Just leave those off. You have the form itself. Just note you can drag these things around if you like. So if I would like my product description right below the title, I can pull that product description up there. Or if I want it below the form itself, I can pull it down. And maybe right here we see only one left in stock. This is your inventory countdown. Maybe I want that to be right below the add to cart button. So right now I have it right below the add to cart button, or maybe I want that to be right below the title. So you have your option to adjust things accordingly to your liking. So let's go ahead and go over the form itself. Go in order here. So the form, you have a size chart option, which essentially it just allows you to select a page. And just note that whenever you do select a page, so I've created a size chart page with a little chart in it, size chart. Just note that whenever you do this, it may seem like this option is not working sometimes. A lot of times I find that the Shopify customizer just acts up and it doesn't act the way it should sometimes. So if you do select that option and for some reason when you start clicking size chart and you don't see it popping up, just click save all your progress, and then maybe you might even have to refresh the customizer. So refresh your page and then it works. But sometimes it seems like the customizer just acts up. So note that anytime you're customizing your Shopify theme, changing sections and things, if you make a change and it seems like it's not working, you're not seeing it take place, sometimes just note if you've tried other things and you're not seeing that change take place, just save your progress, refresh the screen. A lot of times that will fix your issue. Show quantity selector. So that's your quantity selector right here. So you can make that disappear if you like, if you do not want it to show, as well as your dynamic checkout button. So the buy it now button that takes you directly to the checkout. If you do not want that to show, you can make it disappear there. Another thing to note about the dynamic checkout buttons is Shopify has quick checkout options, and depending on if you've enabled those payment options, you may see a different button other than buy it now. So for example, you might have PayPal or Google Pay show up here, and Shopify just dynamically chooses what it wants to put there. You as a merchant do not really have control over that. All right, so just note that our theme does give you the ability to customize the dynamic checkout button in terms of the styling of it. That can be found in the theme settings, going down into, I believe it's styles. So you have your Shopify button. This is the quick checkout button. So you can see the options that I have here: text hover, text color, background button color. So if I wanted to change that, I can. You see that change take place there. Set it back to black. All right. The enable subscription selectors, this is not working in the base theme. Please do not expect it to work. This will likely be a future update that we give to clients that are working with us on continual theme updates. So we have a continual theme update service. You will actually see that on our product page when we finally release it. We'll have the theme only and the theme plus future updates. and highly recommend to be on that. You'll get a ton of value to be on that service, as we're focusing solely on this one theme, making it as good as we possibly can. So this is our way of doing that. All right. So with that being said, let's get back into the area here. All right, so we're in the form settings. So you have your button sizes. So if you want to make it extra small, you can see that change take place there. You have your button style. So do you want to outline? See that change take place here on the add to cart. And then the button color itself, that's just going to change the add to cart, as you've seen how I changed the buy it now button in the theme settings. So if you want to have two different button colors, you can do that as well. All right, so we did the form. Now notice this form says size chart because I entered the size chart. This is just how Shopify works. If you're ever confused on what a block is, just click into the block and note that it says form up here. So it has a title when you click into it. So this is the form block. So I'll remove this page and you'll be able to see that now it says form again. So if you ever get confused, just click into the block and you'll be able to see a title there. All right, so product description. If you don't want your product description, you can remove that block or you can hide that block. So this just pulls in your description that you have input in the back end of Shopify on your actual product. This is literally your product description you're setting in the back end. So you do have icons. So I do have a couple of icons, blocks that I put in here. So if you click add block, you can see your different options. You have icon now. You do have accordions. You have a pop out text, which is this size chart I have here. Accordions, you're not seeing the accordion option anymore because you have the ability to just add one set of accordions, which I believe allows you up to 5 accordions on a product. So you do have that option there. You have a share button. You have a product upsell. So you're no longer seeing that in the options here because I've already added that product upsell here. We're going to go through all of these so you know what's available to you. So in terms of the icons, you can add multiple. They're not looking the best right now. So I will go through and show you how to change these settings. So the first icon, just note we have a lot of pre-built icons in here that you can use. So you can use a heart, you can use an arrow, all of these different options that you have available to you. You do have the ability to customize the color of the icon. So you can see now that it changed to black. You have the ability to change the size of the icon. So you can change the size of the icon to your liking. Then you have your heading. So what do you want the text to say? But more robust. We have text size as default. You can make it small or larger. So there you see that change take effect. You have the width. So do you want the width of this area to be wide or full? I'm going to leave this one as wide. You do have a background. So say you want extra light gray background. Now you have this background aligning with everything else. Let's do width half, and you'll see what happens when you align width half and you have multiple align width half. So this next block right here is easily and quickly set up tracking. It is aligned half. So now if I align this one half, you can see that it stacks side by side. So you do have the ability to stack these side by side if you like that from a design perspective, or you can set them all to full, whatever you like there, but you do have that option. All right. So yeah, you can even stack, a side by side. So you do a 2 by 1 by 2 if you like to just switch things up a little bit. You can do that and be a little bit creative. Do you want this to align center or do you want it to be aligned left? That option is going to change the text alignment. So that's all the settings there. So I'll go into this bottom one so you can see that take effect. This bottom one's aligned wide. If I do alignment center, you see that text aligns center in that little block area. Just note you can select an image, so you can upload your own image for the icon. If you want the ability to use a custom image and change the color of that icon, you would need to work with us to do that. You can try to do that without us, but highly recommend to use us. and you may run into issues trying to do it on your own just because of how we set up this theme and optimized it for performance purposes. So you may have troubles there. And just in general, if people are customizing your theme, they may harm your theme performance. Most likely they will, just because of how we're using the theme and how these things work. So with that being said, if you want to upload a custom icon, what I would recommend doing is whatever color you want that icon to be, you can just upload it as a PNG or whatever, and just make it the color that you want it to be. That way you don't need the ability to customize the color. We just give you that ability for these default icons, as we do not know what color your theme is going to be. So we try to give you a little bit of customization options there and different icons that we find people will often need to use over a variety of businesses. So, all right, so that is those settings for the icons. You have the option to just add text. You can see that text is added right here. So just know that if you need to add some text to the product, you can do that. It'll disappear. Size chart, so you can see the size chart. I just re-inserted a size chart here. So if you like the size chart option that we added up here, and I believe it's the form. Yes, it's form. So add size chart. That makes it stuck to the form. So maybe that's not the right place that you want. So if you want to add pop-out text somewhere else, you can just insert a page here, and you can move this block and title this block whatever you want. So you can move this block around, you can title it whatever you want, and you can enter a page. Say you have, it doesn't have to be a size chart, right? It could be something like washing instructions or care instructions, whatever it is. If you wanted to create a separate page that has all that information or some specific information to a product, you can do that. So you have multiple use cases and where you could use this option. Accordion. So accordions are real nice. Right now I've just named the accordions site speed, accessibility, SEO. Basically, you have an accordion title and an accordion description where you can essentially say you have long product titles. You could condense those and make this form area not so long, and you can condense that information, make it easily scannable, so someone could go down and be like, oh, what's this little piece of information I'm interested in, and drop down the menu. So the accordions are very nice to have. If you click into the block, you can see it's just a heading and a text section, and you have up to 5. All right. The next is, well, let's just touch on the share button. So with the share button, if you just click share, you just have the ability to copy a link and send that link to somebody. So literally that's just the options you have. You can customize the text if you would like to customize the text. Let's go into the upsell block. So here is the upsell block. And essentially what you do here is you choose the product that you want to make the upsell with. And then from there you have a few customization options. So your button size, you can see the button size change here. And button style, button color. So those are your options there. And essentially what this upsell does is you're just able to line this product up. So right now we're on the DGD Crusade Shopify theme product page. And essentially whatever product page you're on, it is going to pull that product in here on the left. And then you're able to add a product on the right side here that you want to upsell it with. And when the person clicks add to cart, of course, it's going to add both of those products to the cart. You will be able to choose, if there are item variants, you will be able to choose the variant. And let's say if this J4 tracking container that we're trying to upsell, let's say if it had different variants, the person would also have the option to select those variants as well. So it is easily shoppable for a product upsell area. All right, so that is the block settings there. We've went over everything. And just note, if you have an app, you can add in. So for example, you have, if you don't want to use our, for example, this is Judge Me, it's a review app. If you don't want to use our built-in review option, which we recommend you to do, but if you don't want to and you want to use the app review options, sometimes you'll see apps that you've installed, you'll have the ability to add their widgets in as blocks and things of that nature. All right, so product recommendations. So there's not a lot of settings here, just alignment, padding, and background color. So if I do white, boom, and then you have your title section area. We will, in the base theme, so the theme, if you go to our site and buy the theme, you will have the option to actually customize your heading size. So we are going to give you the ability to align middle, align left, change your heading size here. So that will be a nice little update for you to have. It's not currently in the theme that I'm sharing with you, but we are making those updates. So you can expect those updates to be available. You do have your image height setting here. So we see we have more of this mobile view. You want to make it more of a 1x1. You do have that option, and boom, there's the 1x1. These settings down here show second image hover, add image padding, show board, image border, show vendor, show product rating. These will not be in the theme that you buy. These settings, so all of these settings are controlled in the product card theme settings. So we're removing the option from there. So you have your product card theme settings where you have show vendor, show ratings, and those settings themselves will control the settings that you're seeing right here. So we're getting rid of those out of this section. So do not expect them to be there, but the settings to control these types of things, they are available in the theme. So I just wanted to be upfront with you right there so you can know what to expect. And with that being said, that is how to set up your product detail page. That is your options. Again, just note that if you need to customize the page more, you do have the ability to add additional sections. Any sections that are available in the theme will be available here. You just need to understand how product templates and Shopify templates work in general. You should be aware of that before you go and start doing whatever you want. Just note that these are global changes in terms of how the product template itself works. So if you add in a section and you put in data in that section, that is going to show up again on any product that's using this default product template. So just note that if you have something very specific to one product, it will show up on another product if they're sharing the same template. And data management is extremely important in Shopify. It's more important now than ever in terms of you now have the ability to properly and responsibly manage your product data, whereas in the not in the past, which was not too long ago, you didn't really have that ability. But Shopify has now added in meta fields and meta objects, so you should become familiar with those or work with a team that is familiar with how to manage data properly. So we'd be happy to help you there if you need help ensuring your store it gets cleaned up, or if you just know that you'd like to start adding customizations in, but you want to make sure that you're managing that data properly when you're doing those customizations. We'd be happy to work with you, or just in general, just be aware that that's there and you can use those features to your advantage as well. All right, so now you're that much more prepared to use the DGD Crusade Shopify theme to maximize your site performance.